I am live. The crazy church is downstairs. Well, they don't think they're crazy. The man is yelling and screaming. He's trying to wake the dead. What do you guys think? You like it? Uh, I hope I'm not going to have a medical emergency tonight. Not for me, but for she. Okay, you want to look outside? Break in the rain. My mother just popped a nitroglycerin pill. Any of you guys know about that? You know, that's for heart patients. My mother has bad heart. She has heart failure. She has atrial fibrillation. Amir, hello. Excuse me. Do you live here? Oh, it's you. Okay. Sorry, you scared me. Okay. All right. I have somebody that's trying to come in. Come on. Oh, this is a stairwell after all. Um, yes, I'm okay. I'm giving you room to. I'm giving you room to. Okay, so anyway, this is the ambiance that is when you live here, and I'm doing my best to be heard. Anyway, getting back to my mother, she popped a nitroglycerin picture, a nitroglycerin pill. I'm yes, I have some of them. I have some N95s. They are not in my stairwell, obviously. And glycerin pill. She's feeling sick to her stomach. She's having things with her heart. She is having some medical symptoms like, I don't know, it sounds really, I don't want to gross anybody out or anything, but she's having some gastrointestinal symptoms also, which I understand that sometimes women's heart attack symptoms can things like this. Meanwhile, her insurance actually charges $100 to go to the ER, to use the ER, and $200 to take an ambulance. I'm thinking, because I live in a real ghetto neighborhood, there is a shopping cart that somebody parked right next to the trash can in a shopping cart. The hospital is not too far away. I would no problem with putting a trench coat on, getting my mom downstairs, putting her in that shopping cart and wheeling her to the ER. Why would, especially if somebody is a heart patient and they're old, like my mother is, why the heck would her insurance charge her? Now, if you need to go to the hospital, you would need to get there ASAP, right? Wouldn't an ambulance get there pretty fast, assuming they got to the house fast? So why would you have to pay that kind of money when a person who has very little resources can get that all for free? Now, I would think when it's something like life or death, like a heart patient or something, when seconds count, you wouldn't economically discourage somebody from getting health care that way. I told her that I would wheel her there, and the thing is, we were kind of joking about now she's not feeling too well. I'm going to I'm gonna try to be careful how I film this. Stand here. Do you hear this? Can you still hear how obnoxiously loud this is? This is so unfair. Everybody is forced to. I'm thinking I got to get a Bluetooth speaker or something that I can use that could amplify all my electronics. I really think that's the way to go. They have these tiny little speakers that connect, and they're not wired, and you don't need batteries. Okay, I am back in my studio, and yes, Amir, I can go digging around for some of those masks. Okay, we had a break in the rain. I had Garfield here for quite a long time, over a day. Oh, got a little friend, little gray mousy. I'm gonna try to show you, but I don't want him to jump out. And this is really cute. He's using a little toilet paper roll, is his little, so he has a little hideaway. Can you see? Hey, I gotta be real careful with this because I don't want him to jump out. Well, he won't. He won't jump out because he's in there. Okay. Did you see how the thing moved? Here. Got lots of food in here for him. See, if I hadn't had Garfield here all day today, I wanted to. We've been having rain for the past 3 days, pretty hard rain, almost nonstop. Finally, we had a pretty sunny day today, but I had Garfield here, and I couldn't very well leave him, Garfield, here while I went and released the mouse. And plus, I didn't want to release the mouse in the garden because I didn't want to feel that I was being really, really obvious about it with the neighbors and everything. I thought it would be better to go by the beach. And when it's raining on and off, you don't want to go all the way to the beach because you're afraid of getting caught in the rain, especially if you got a computer that can get wet. So you have to be real careful when releasing them. Manny Ramirez, hi. Most neatly, hello. Um, Mo, were you implying that I was having a problem with the buffering or something? I'm not indicating that there's any problem. The signal's strong enough that it even works across the street. I did a live stream in the garden, and so this is apparently a pretty good signal. But Garfield pissed in my house just before I let him out. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Where I would set up I can't set up a litter box in any place that I can hide it because anybody that I live with see the litter box, they're going to hit the roof. So I have to, but you can't, if you're going to have cats visiting, they have to be able to go to the bathroom. That's the thing. I am looking for something. Where is, this is where I have some of my masks. I also thought I had some. Oh, oh yeah, here. Okay. Amir, you still around? I gotta be careful. I got earrings in. See my cat earrings? And whenever you're wearing earrings and you go to put on one of these, it's easy for the earrings to get tangled up. Now you can tell this is a little on the older side, and the rubber bands are starting to get a little sticky. But that said, now Amir, are you still around? If you're around, I can start to put this on. Wait a minute. I think my mother's trying to get my attention. Hold on. Say that again. What? What? You feel better? Hey, my mom just let me know that she got sick to her stomach in the bathroom and she threw up and she's gonna want me to hit it with the bleach spray and paper towel and mop that up. I'm not gonna do it right now. Nobody's gonna get in there for a while because the only people that go in there is herself and me, and I can't imagine going in there anytime soon. So I'm gonna get back to what we were talking about here. And this is for Amir Udin, who likes to see me put on. Now, I'm not doing the thing where I put the rubber bands exactly around and do all that because the rubber band is going to get caught in my hair. Ouch. Oh, and I can feel it already. It's ripping hair out. So I'm not going to risk destroying my hair just for these kind of demonstrations. Okay. I have to really think about, as it is, I need to redo a lot of these braids and do them over again. And when I redo them, I need to re-dye them and wash the individual parts of hair that I undo because I can't wash my hair like this. I mean, I could in theory, but you get the more friction you do, the more the fuzzies come out and stuff. And every time I do this, I forget about there's always a downside to maintaining the braids. But I do love them. If I didn't love them, I wouldn't do them. I'm going to plug this back in so that I don't power down. And it actually wasn't that low. But here. Okay. Now I am going to I was thinking I could have taken this to the bathroom because I think it's time for me to have a smoke break. Any of you guys are inclined to the devil's lettuce, you might want to, if you want to join me, you can. Now, I don't have butts. One of my buddies, just like, do you remember from Cheech and Chong's comedy sketches? They had a little routine called Dave's Not Here. Well, I have a friend named Dave, and so Dave's not here. And he rings my doorbell sometimes and he gives me roaches. And so I got some roach weed, and it's not bad stuff. You just have to unravel the thing. And some of them are big ones, and some of them are little ones. And one thing I don't like is when the outer leaf is so flaky and it's like coming off in these little pieces, and you just want it to be able to lift off, ideally, so that you're with a nice moist chunk that does not have any tobacco on it. So you could just bowl it up and not have to worry about getting those real harsh tobacco hits. And I don't smoke tobacco, so I react very almost violently to tobacco. It's just harsh, it's very unpleasant, it makes me feel sick to my stomach. I have smoked tobacco when I was younger, in high school. I remember a whole bunch of us from a class that were in a circle passing a cigarette around. And of course, I was a dumbass that got caught by one of the teachers with the cigarette, and I got a suspension and all that. And of course, I bullshitted my mother that I was just holding the cigarette. But I never smoked tobacco long enough to get hooked on it. It was something that I used very occasionally as a drug. I had access to free cigarettes when I worked the Miss America pageant. They were sponsored by Virginia Slims and a cigarette called More. And I was able to get these packs of cigarettes when I was security at the Atlantic City Convention Hall, which is where the Miss America pageant was. And this was like senior year of high school and when I was in beauty school. But aside from that, the only time I never so much as spent $1 on cigarettes. I never bought a pack in my life. Every now and then in my early years in Hollywood, I would take a hit off of somebody's cigarette if I was really stressed out about something. But I never uh, became hooked on tobacco. I never liked tobacco. I certainly never liked the smell of tobacco indoors. I was so happy when they passed the smoking ban in the state of California, and they passed it here. I got to keep an eye on my mother because I don't know what's up with. She's having some symptoms. She won't admit that this church is very loud, shaking. I mean, literally shaking the walls. She won't admit that this is in any way contributing to her health problems. Do you know what it's like to live with an older person and you're always checking up on them because you realize that, especially if it's not only an older person, but it's an older person who you love and who you are also dependent on for at least your shelter. And it's not just about the love and the family and everything, but it's also the fact that if not for them, you don't know where you would lay your head at night, and all your stuff that's not in storage 3,000 miles away is where you're at. And if anything happened to her, you would have very limited notice to do something to get you and your stuff out of there. Dumpstar, you recharging? I couldn't find her channel. I did a search and I couldn't find it. I kept on getting all these jams and all these gems and all this stuff that had nothing to do with channels. Okay. It used to be when you were in a chat room and you saw somebody's username, you could click on it and you could go directly to their page. So, like, if you say you were in one of those live streams that teaches us YouTubers how to do the thing, you could go and look at people's channels and learn about them and stuff. And I got turned on to a lot of channels that way. But it's no longer a direct link. There's only like if you wanted to fuck with somebody. But if you wanted to be able to just go to their channel and see and subscribe and stuff, you would think that YouTube would make it easier since it's all about the algorithm and about staying on the platform. You think YouTube would make it a little bit easier for us to go to each other, subscribe to each other and all. I'm gonna go and use the stove, which the kitchen stove is my personal lighter, okay? And this is, if you don't have paper plates, I use any cardboard packaging. The shiny stuff, though, doesn't stay on fire too long, though. And I have the door, my window propped open so that the smoke doesn't go down the hall, so it doesn't smell telltale like I'm smoking weed. Not that I care, but I just don't like to let the left hand know what the right hand is doing. You know what I mean? It's still on fire. Man, I gotta keep an eye on my mother. Hey, I got my makeup on. I'm all dressed. All I gotta do is throw in that big old leather trench coat. Got the mouse right behind me. I gotta be sure not to knock the lid off or knock it over. You know, he'll run back through the house if I do. That reminds me, I gotta put some water in for him. You know, I find that a coffee can lid or another lid is real shallow. That's really good in a bucket if you're trying to catch a mouse. You got to give mouse food and you got to give them water. I love my braids. I love them so much. I know they're looking ratty as fuck. And I don't understand why the dye fades. I don't understand why when you don't wash your hair, it still fades. I went to fucking beauty school. Okay, I didn't anticipate that I would go for long periods of time without washing my hair. But I mean, even when I don't have my hair in braids because of this fucked up situation with the bathroom access, because the full bath with the shower and the bathtub, the other person that lives here considers it his. And makes my mother even feel unwelcome to go down there to visit. And he keeps it so scuzzy. Hooah! Balfour, hello. You know what? I found something else to dye my hair with. And you're probably going to laugh at this, but check this out. See what these are? Easter egg dye kits. Now, I'm thinking of getting, we have these cups that come with them. And, oh, I got another one I want to show you. Uh, Look at this. These come with these, but you're supposed to put the Easter egg dye, right? And they have the cutest little eyedroppers. And instead of being glass and breakable, they're plastic. And there's three of them in this, right? I got these at the Salvation Army this morning. Now, my idea was I could put hair dye in this, right? I could stick the braids And here, coil them around, okay? You know, because my hair, I don't think is looking anywhere near as vibrant purple. It was nice and freshly dyed when I put my braids in. I did not have roots. Obviously, I know you can't do anything about your roots, but hair dye and something like this. And in the back here, I don't know what this fucking looks like. You got to tell me. I can't see the back of my hair. Oh, I'm probably getting my hair through my weed. Man, that cat, I can't believe the cat pissed on my bed today. I'm holding him, and he like the stream is going like that commercial about the guy that it's for a, a surgery thing that helps guys that go to the bathroom 10 times a night, whatever. Anyway, the cat stream, he peed over on my bed, on my floor, down the hall, down the steps as I'm carrying him out the door. He couldn't help it. I mean, I don't have a litter box for him. He's got to be at least 10 years old. I wasn't squeezing his stomach or anything. At least he didn't take a dump on my floor. Okay, but the whole room smells like cat pee. It's a good thing the smell of cat pee doesn't really bother me. I love cats. It's part of the territory. Now, the cat shit, I don't appreciate. That's why I have a confession to make. I actually got my mother to do the litter box duty because I did everything else around the house. You got to understand when you're a caregiver to an older person that's too tired to even wash a dish or whatever, when you're doing all the hand laundry, when you bring the food into the house, when I realize that most of the clothes that she wears, I have found for her. Whether they were piles of clothes that I found that somebody dumped a bag is a donation for different places, or somebody dropped off piles of clothes in front of the Salvation Army or some organization like that. And I find something, and half the time I misjudge my mother's size, but I find things, including the pants that she's been wearing around the house for the past 3 years. I brought that in. I found something. Maria, yeah. Are you in Florida still? I haven't been there so long as far as the dance clubs and stuff. Well, and the sad thing is that since then, so half the shoes have dry rotted and become, I had to throw them out. And also my feet hurt so much that a lot of those shoes were just too painful to wear. That just sucks because I really hate not being able to wear my favorite shoes. I'm so mad at myself. This year I've been eating so much junk food. I put on like 15 pounds. And it's my own fault. I miss it when I was working out hardcore. I was lifting weights and doing the kickboxing and stuff. And there's no reason not to be doing that. I love fitness, and I love weights especially. The one thing though I noticed is I tend to get, sometimes when I'm working out like 5, 6 days, 7 days a week, I would get really grouchy. It ups, even a woman's testosterone increases somewhat, and I was getting really bitchy and grumbly, and people were noticing it. It was because I really enjoy, and I have the baby weights, and I have a bunch of equipment that I still have in a container. Uh, I'm pointing to. I have a windowsill where my cats used to have the cat bed, and they used to sleep up there, and because the floors here in this apartment are warped, it wouldn't make sense for me to use the ab rollers and set up the bag, the punching bag, and all the things that I have. So the stuff is there, and mostly like when I would do workouts to the stuff on TV, you just follow along with them and just take your free weights and stuff. But you obviously can't use uh, jump rope in these low ceilings, and I don't necessarily feel like making a spectacle of myself out in the city streets doing workouts like some people do. Plus, you got to worry about if it's in the sun, which I can't be in. And I would have liked to have gone out with my guitar this afternoon and make a little, but I have to be real discreet about there's this one cop on the 4 to 12 shift that was, oh, hey, Danielle. Hold that tiger. Hold that tiger. Arr. Mouse baby. Got a little mouse baby. No, you're not going to jump out. If it's not going to be raining tomorrow, I'm going to release the mouse. I'm going to do the video for that. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll do that around the beach. It's more discreet that way. I'm so sick and tired of not having the real close beach access because they still have it blocked off. They're doing some reconstructing one of the ramps that goes up to the boardwalk. And you would think they would have signage on the main street that goes parallel to the beach. So before you walk up the beach block, you wouldn't realize, oh, I can't get up to the boardwalk. I have to go an about face and I have to go back to the main street and go up the next little side street to go up to the boardwalk. If you were in a hurry, you wouldn't like that inconvenience. And especially if it's slightly drizzling rain and you're trying to protect your laptop computer and you want to get something done and get back home and stuff. But I need to do that tomorrow, assuming I don't see Garfield late at night and feel bad for him and bring him in here. Oh, I don't know where else I could hide a litter box because that's the only way I could. I think, and I need to get cat food too. I got no cat food. I got cat treats. When Dave's not here, got me those little bags of Temptations. I've never met a cat that doesn't love those Temptations. They really are good cat treats. Mm. Oh, and this is just, I didn't get this cat food. I did find a bag. This is actually, it says Sam's Club exclusive mix. I didn't know that they came in 32-ounce bags. Yeah. I just got this and cleaned it out. Figured I could use this to put something away. Tiger on the wall. Oh, you noticed that? I've been putting an old towel on the carpet to protect that cat so that he doesn't get his feet dirty on my filthy floor. But this, yes, close up. I can't balance my weight on my back foot or else I will knock things over because I'm standing on a board. Guys, I need serious. Uh, I put on like 15 pounds, dude. I'm so disgusted with myself. I looked at videos I shot this week, and I wore a crop top, and they say if you can pinch an inch, I I fucked up, and it's my fault. I remember the day I decided not to do the workout that I was going to do. I just didn't feel like it. Whatever my excuse was. Oh, yeah. When you're running in place, when you just wake up in the morning, it's very, and especially when you're not really awake and you're running, where you run in place is near your the woodwork of the entrance to your door. You never kind of fall asleep when you're running and you hit up against the woodwork and you hurt your shoulder, hit your head, hit your elbows because you're kind of not really awake. I'm not a morning person, but I can be. Like if there's a gig attached to it and I have a 6 a.m. set time, damn, I can be bright-eyed, bushy tailed. I had no problem going to work in Hollywood on the movie sets. I'm there. I'm there to work. I'm there to do my gigs. If I have a dance gig, oh, gotta do some extra sets, more money. Hell yeah. I'm the girl that does the shows because first of all, if I'm picking the music, I'm happy because I am in total control of the music, the costuming, whatever. And I would like to think if people like quality, then they should be very happy with whatever I'm doing on stage or whatever my creative endeavors are. I would like to think if you have any kind of taste, you would appreciate it. But Hollywood, I have 8 SAG vouchers. You need 3 to join the union. Since I was there, SAG and AFTRA have merged, and I actually have business in the central casting offices. They screwed up my name on the records, and I got to go take a. There's just a little bus that goes from Hollywood to Burbank. I think it's a 163 bus, and go to central casting and deal with things that can't be handled on the phone or by email. And they will correct my name for the records for once and for all. I mean, it's not like it's rocket science to get a person's correct name on their records. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to bring some clothes that can also be used for background work if I could score something, as long as it's not something that requires a time commitment. That this is going to be something that's going to go on for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, since I probably can't plan to be there more than a month tops. I'm going to shoot for 2 weeks to deal with my storage, and then a week for other things, and certainly whatever fun I can have when I'm there. But I haven't scored housing yet. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I some and as far as the bus goes, that's for when I come back. I want to get the. I still, and I was thinking if my mother got after we get out of this apartment, if she found a senior housing, and because I'm her caregiver, I'd be allowed to live there. And if, say, as part of the rent, they give us a covered space in this park garage. Now, neither she nor I have vehicles, obviously, but if I'm going to get that bus, it's going to need to be parked someplace, right? And if I want to work on it, do like some basic things like take out most of the seats, which you have to do before you can start doing the things to make it look more like an RV inside, I'm going to need to have it out of the public view, because you know how you can't work on something that's outside. You get a ticket for it because it's, well, just, I don't think unless you live out in certain places where they don't have zoning restrictions, where you can actually work on your car right outside. I know that they wouldn't let you do that, especially if it's in a parking space that you're supposed to be moving around and stuff. But it could take me a good year and a half of working on the bus before it's ready to hit the road, because I don't want to just throw a sleeping bag in there and a cat trees and a litter genie and call it a day. Well, yeah, and that kind of scares me too, honestly. The whole idea of, I remember getting used to driving a sports car, and you know how much room there is on either side, so you don't feel that you're scraping the sides, unless, of course, you're drunk or real tired. You can be so tired that you veer off a little bit. And I remember living in the city of Torrance, and coming back from Hollywood from clubbing. And it wasn't that I had alcohol on me, even though I'm sure I had a little bit of alcohol on me, but I was just tired because it was like the sun was just starting to come up. And those raised dots that keep you from veering into another lane, I think they call them bots dots, they really do save lives because they make the car shake and it wakes you up. Because if you're driving normal freeway speed and you veer into another lane and that dot shakes you awake, and it keeps you from falling asleep on the road when you're driving, and that's important. So I'm really glad that they have them. They're the same kind of feature, that texture, when you're approaching a toll, and just before you get to it, it gets this texture so everybody knows to slow down and toll, like you're entering the Pennsylvania Turnpike or the Atlantic City Expressway or the Will Rogers and Turner Turnpike, which goes through Oklahoma. I remember that from crossing the country. And I only had 13 days license experience, driving experience, when I drove my new car across the country. So, but there's a difference between driving a car and driving a bus. And there is a part of me that's really intimidated by the idea of something that's so wide. But then look at Winnebagos. Look at people driving those things. And they're going even on these winding roads, mountain roads, where there's just a little metal um, uh, guardrail, but certainly is not strong enough to keep a heavy vehicle from going over. But 13 days driving experience. Next time you call, and my mom usually answers, you ask her, she'll tell you all about that. And she and my father, she said that's why my father's hair went white that summer, that year. I left home, and my mom said she didn't think she'd ever see me again. It's like, when you're a kid and you're doing what you have to do, you don't think about it from the perspective of the people that are saying, whoa, she's doing this. And especially I did it by myself. And it's like, why wouldn't I do it by myself? There was nobody I knew that wanted to do what I wanted to do. What were the chances? What could the chances have been that I would know somebody who I would trust on that journey? And I would definitely prefer it to be a female, because if it was a guy, I wouldn't know what his intentions were. And plus, he would maybe want to eat Italian when I wanted to eat Chinese, or maybe he'd want to stay in a more expensive hotel, and meanwhile I was Motel 6 girl, or the low the budget change, which, by the way, I had no problem with any of the places I stayed. I only drove during the daytime. I got uh, hotels at night. Now, I wouldn't be above sleeping in rest stops. And especially if I'm going to have a bus, there's no reason why I shouldn't just sleep in that instead of sleeping in paying for hotels. I could see, okay, occasionally springing for being able to soak in a nice hot tub, for instance. And then I heard there's places where you can, if you're willing to pay, you can shower at truck stops. The I-40, in place Iowa 40. I think it goes through Iowa. I had the first time that I went to a Wendy's, and I had their chili. It was real good. And this was when I was on one of my Greyhound uh, coast to coast trips. I would always go home for Christmas taking a Greyhound. And when you're taking Greyhound, you're limited by wherever they're going to stop. But the truck stops are the best. I love the truck stops, partly because you have all these free magazines and newspapers that you can get that show you about that area. And I find that so interesting. And a lot of them are about these little hometowns and these little publications that have like ads for their churches and their dog walking and their veterinarians and all these things, and the little farmer's almanac stuff, and about fishing licenses and all this stuff, that really, things that when people fly and they just go from coast to coast, you miss all these little towns. I love traveling Greyhound because you get to see the country and you get to meet all of these people from all over. And you don't have to spend all your money eating junk food if you bring food. Like, okay, if you're coming back from the West Coast to the East Coast, there are some really excellent dollar stores in Los Angeles. I was able to get like those little pocket pitas. And what I would do is I would freeze them until just before I left so that I would know that it would be as fresh as possible. They would have these pouches of scallops, smoked, pre cooked scallops, and they were in a pouch. And you get and I would pre-cook some broccoli, and I would thin slice broccoli and cauliflower and carrots, and I would cook it just before I left, right? And I would have that along, and then like some packages of scallops, sardines, smoked oysters, have these little pocket pitas, and I would have them frozen until I was ready to go. And so in my food bag, I would have the pocket pitas, I would have the vegetables, I would have the seafood. Now, some people might not appreciate your seafood on the bus. Oh, hard boiled eggs, another thing. I like to mash a hard boiled egg, and I don't like to do 10 minutes. I think I like to hard boil my eggs closer to 30 minutes. The yolk's got to be gray on the outside. A lot of people, I don't think, they don't cook their eggs enough. Just like when I scramble eggs, I like them well done. So I'm particular that way. And at least I'll never get salmonella. Uh, I am going to do a repeat of what I just did. I am going to go into the kitchen and I am going to set this on fire and I'm going to do a little smoke inhalation. I'm going to be right back. So don't run away from me, okay? Hey, what your eye? Getting a mouse high. You lucky bastard. He's so cute. He's an underage mouse. Don't snitch me off, okay? I don't think mice like it when you make kissy noises to them. I had in Hollywood some roommates that had rodents for pets, including rats and mice. And I think I've heard their hearing is really sensitive. And when you make little cute little kissing sounds, I remember their ears were moving like it was hurting their ears. And you don't want to hurt your pets. I mean, these animals have feelings. And when people treat them like just because they're vermin and they're dirty and they're germy, and yes, I know they're incontinent, they poop and they pee, I understand that. And I don't like having to rewash my clothes because I found that they bit the plastic bag and, in search of maybe they want to chew up things. Astro Zombie, that is such a cool name. Hey, good evening. It is 10:35 at night. Raining outside here. I got a mouse, a little gray mouse. Cute little gray mouse. I found out they really like toilet paper rolls. But now, don't you think this is a good idea to put hair dye in something like this and take my braids? Like, I can do, like, another thing I could do, say I have to redo this because it's getting ratty looking, right? Then I wash the hair, right? Then I blow it dry. Then put some hair dye in here. Then I take this and I quill it up. And so get it all covered with the hair dye, right? then I take a little plastic bag and go this, and I take a clip and I hit the blow dryer to it, and I let that soak in. I do the same thing with a couple other braids that are not too close, because you don't want to, in the wetting process, you don't want to get wet on the hair dye. And so I refresh and redo some braids at the same time with the color, because I don't like it that it's not as vivid as I wish it would be. And I have a crimping iron now. You will see if you watch any of my videos. I posted a video about a friend sending me a package. Tomorrow, I have a video about a Wish or Timu, I forget, unboxing. Sometimes I batch record. Sometimes I've done up to 9 videos in one day, just so that I knew that I would have videos so that I can make my daily upload. Once I decided to go daily, I realized I had a responsibility, that I set my audience up with an expectation that there's always going to be something new to check out. And I also like doing the live streams. That's a lot of fun. I'm really mad at myself though. I dropped my Seagate drive, and I'm pretty sure I broke it. And that was what I used to back up this channel. It's my 6 terabyte hard drive. And it was only 2 feet of a drop on the carpet. This is what I mean by Seagate drive. And it's like the light's still on when it's plugged in. I went ahead and finally unplugged it. But like when I try to turn it on, it clicks over, and but then it stops making that sound. And because it doesn't have an SSD, it has the disk drive, the kind that, the moving parts kind, which I should have probably gotten. I've seen those portable hard drive that are like, they look a little bit bigger than a deck of playing cards, and they're more rounded edges than really big and hard like this. I was just looking for a device that, first of all, yes, I was thinking about the cost. I paid like what, $109 for this or something. I got this at bestbuy.com, or I got a whole bunch of thumb drives at walmart.com, because I was shopping around at all. I was looking for a lot of ways that I could back up my YouTube channel. I have over 12 years of videos, and YouTube still finds fault with old videos where I said something, I expressed a forbidden political thought, I expressed my love of uh, this guy. Whoops, up here one too many times, and that's just so damn ridiculous. Oh, speaking of which, if anybody had any doubt as to how I felt, I took the thing down so that I could plug in this thing, my little disco light, and it shows up best if you have a whiter wall, and then if you angle it near a mirror. So it's nice to kick back and get the light, and you get a similar effect that you would when you have the little Christmas lights, and you don't, without the hassle of stringing lights up and taking over spaces of a wall. And then if you have them in the window, you're attracting attention that you wouldn't want. Just for the glow in the atmosphere, you're also having more people see through. And it just, I don't need my business. Like, what if people actually noticed when I was filming a YouTube video, and say, what if they saw the star, and if, say, they saw from there and they saw my name and everything? I don't want something like that. I'm actually trying to be discreet, doing my filming here in the bowels of the ghetto in Atlantic City, literally. And I'm trying to be, because I have to think of my safety, and I also have to make sure that I'm not stepping on any toes here. Thank you. Because I do things that some people might not approve of. For instance, I am pro cannabis. I smoke weed. Okay. And I am in a state where it's fully legal here. It's not just medical, which I wouldn't qualify for the strict medical thing here. It's much easier to qualify for medical in the state of California, you know. But this little thing I paid 91 cents for. And tomorrow I'm going to do the unboxing of the. I keep on confusing Wish with Temu. I'm back with ordering with Wish now. They have. Hello to Mr. Scott from Delaware. Oh, gee, I wonder who Mr. Scott is. $0.91. Can you believe that? My favorite movie genre, Tommy, definitely. We're at one birthday. I was in Hollywood, okay, and I was checking. I still had my PO box there, and I was checking my storage is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But I was at my PO box, and one of my friends who was also there, she saw that I was there. She gave me a handmade card. Now I had also noticed that that Borat. I was there that year. I was there for like 4 months. Okay, and oh man, I happened to when I was coming back on the bus from the Hare Krishna temple on a Sunday. Every Sunday at the Hare Krishna temple in Culver City, they have a wonderful Sunday feast, they call it, where they serve their prasadam, which is their blessed, chanted over uh vegetarian food. I'm not vegetarian or vegan, but this food is wonderful. It's usually Indian food. And if you like Indian food, if you like curries, if you like batter dipped fried cauliflower, oh my God. They're really wonderful. I'm not a paneer person because paneer is cheese and I don't like cheese, but I love Indian food. I make what I call Indian potatoes, which is basically potatoes with curry powder and the ingredients for a garam masala. I love herbs and spices. I have the organic garden across the street. You're going to be seeing in a couple of days extensive more garden footage. And now that I can stream live there, not in the rain, no. I don't know if I'm going to release any more mice there because I don't really want the people to notice because the mice are probably going to run into the neighboring apartments there. That's the thing. And I don't know how they would be treated then. Because half the people might have glue traps. They might have the pest control using the really disgusting poisons that if a cat gets that mouse that had the poison, the cat gets sick and dies. Now, the working man assured us that I know Tiger. Tiger's down. Tiger's down. Yeah, Tiger. We party. I had speaking of happy birthdays. She made me. She and Scotty made me have a happy birthday. And of course, powers that be were with the Trump later on. But anyway, getting back to this birthday in Hollywood. A couple weeks before, when I was coming back from the Hare Krishna uh, food, you're chanting, you're eating this wonderful Indian food and all that stuff, and they were doing a premiere for Borat, and that was a lot of it was open to the public because they had all these bleachers set up just like for the Academy Awards. They have bleachers and some people wait in line and they hang out enough and they actually get to watch whatever is open to the public while the stars are getting out of the limos and they're going on the red carpet. It's in front of Man's Chinese Theater. If you know Hollywood at all, I lived in LA for 16 years. I know Los Angeles. I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm not any star. If I was a star, you didn't know who the hell I was by now because a little thing called 9/11 fucked everything up. Anybody that was there around that time, when that happened, bam, interrupted everything. So if there's any bitter actresses, actors, and dancers and models that were there in Los Angeles during that time. There is a line in the sand where when that thing happened, it interrupted things. So that, oh. So anyway, getting back to I got to see the premiere, whenever it was open to the public. It included the music, live orchestra, and Russian or uh, oh, what was it? See, he was playing that it was Kazakhstan, but the music was actually, I believe, Russian symphony or something. I forget what it was. And it's interesting, his character in this film was anti-Semitic, and yet he was speaking in Hebrew, and he is actually a Jew. So, but there was a lot of inside jokes that only if you knew some of the backstory, and then if you knew the backstory, you could laugh without it being you're a bigot, so you think it's funny. You could actually laugh because it's sort of like we can watch All in the Family reruns, knowing how Archie Bunker was, and certainly by today's woke standards, that stuff would never fly. But we could look at 60s and 70s television, and we know that you don't have to be offended because this is a takeoff on how the time was. And since Carol O'Connor's character was, he knew that he was playing a bigoted person. So, but when you understand the context, context is everything. That's what a lot of people that are still, the social justice warriors of today, what they don't understand is context is everything. And you can't rewrite history. You have to understand the times that things were in before you're quick to judge somebody. So, you've never been out west further than Western Tennessee. Um, I love to travel, but I don't like airplanes anymore because I had a turbulence experience that was very unpleasant. This is ashes. It would be more logical for me to have something separate. It's actually ashtray, and not also be where I have my bud that I'm about to inhale. Part of it is now legalization is becoming more and more a thing. So people are feeling safer about having paraphernalia. But really, until we have federal legalization, accumulating things which could give you a felony depending on where you are. And since I'm the kind of person that has a propensity for crossing state lines to get from point A to point B, I've always felt a reluctance to accumulate paraphernalia. If I can't safely take it on the Greyhound, like I remember in LA making uh pipes out of just, you get the metal bowl and you have the screen, right? And the metal bowl, instead of screwing into another metal device or something, I would attach it to a toilet paper roll. And that way, if say I'm smoking with my punk rocker friends in the parking lot of some record store and the cops roll on because they like to sneak up on you and catch people partying because, instead of finding a crime, let's find some kids maybe passing around some weed or a bottle of alcohol or something. But if they're trying to catch people for smoking weed, then all you have to do is throw the toilet paper roll, and that's like, you know, what paraphernalia, right? Makes it basically disposable. But of course, California, they went fully legal before state of New Jersey did. A lot of states are fully legal, but I would like to see Texas go legal. I want to see Florida legal. Florida has to go legal. I haven't experienced Key West yet. I would love to spend some time there. I would love to spend some time. I know somebody that had a houseboat there that was um I got to learn to do some woodworking. I can I can make a duck decoy, for instance. I don't know how useful that would be. Well, actually, if I hooked up with a hunter, but you know what? Ducks taste good. Oh man, I love Chinese food. I love Thai food. Uh, I love Japanese food. I love sushi, but I love duck. For my birthday, I always try to get Chinese food. And aside from the casinos, where obviously every casino has wonderful Chinese and Asian restaurants, usually at a price. But aside from the casinos, if it's past 10 o'clock, good luck finding a Chinese restaurant open. You can find pizza shops open till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, but you can't find Asian restaurants open late at night, and it just bums me out. I have had pheasant before, and grouse. I know what they look like because when I made my decoy, I painted it to look like a speckled grouse. My grandparents, they're not here anymore. They are from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they lived out in the country of Pittsburgh. And there was woods around them, and there were pheasants around here, and wild turkeys and deer. Because of the deer, they gave up on having gardens. Because those deer, they would eat your vegetables. You would have to really be good with having chicken wire and things to protect the deer and the housing. They started having housings around there, so you couldn't, even though Pennsylvania is much better for gun laws than New Jersey is, for instance, but because the development, you can't just shoot the deer. I believe they let you do bow and arrow, but that's a bad way to die. Imagine getting shot with bow and arrow, especially those real strong, like what do they call them, compound bows or something. They have these ones where you can actually use, you can lay on your back and you can use your hands and your feet and pull it back. Um, I bet I'd get real nice arms for that. See, this is what's not good about having ashes. And I have pieces of tobacco wrapper mixed in with this too. And it's tobacco is brittle and it's coming off in sheets. Danielle, I want it now. What, Chinese food? Astro Zombie. It's legal here in your state. Well, you said you're in. Are you in Tennessee? Oh, Astro, welcome. Welcome to my stream and welcome to my channel. I really love it, Virginia. Um, well, my family's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Usually, how we always got back and forth was we go from Atlantic City to Philadelphia, from Philadelphia across on the Pennsylvania Turnpike to Pittsburgh. And I still remember how to get from grandma's house to grandma's house from the Pennsylvania Turnpike, which is what, Interstate 76, I believe. But, you know, when they died and the house was sold for grandpa's medical bills, they thought that the house itself was going to be used. It was totally torn down. They just used the land, whoever bought it. It does not exist. It's like that house that I remember from the time I was a little girl, grandma and grandpa's house, where the aunts and uncles were, where I got to hear Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, where I got to hear Cat Stevens, where my aunt taught me my first chords on guitar, where I got to hear Jimi Hendrix through, you know, those over the ear headphones, and my aunts and uncles had an 8-track player, and I got to hear the Jimi Hendrix solos that went in one ear and out the other, back and forth, where I got to hear the Grateful Dead, where I got to hear what now they call classic rock, where I got turned on to Jim Croce, where I got to hear great LP records. My aunts and uncles had posters of the fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. And thank you for stopping by, Danielle Tiger. Arr. I love it when people talk to me. Sometimes people get mad at me because my vision isn't good. And if say this thing is all the way over there and really I don't have good vision, and I'm going like this to see, and if I miss something, then somebody says, you don't look at your chat, do you? And it makes me feel like an asshole, right? So then I go and look back and see what did I miss. So I do try to be attentive to what people say, you know. Unless people say things or ask me things get me in trouble. Like I've gotten streams torn down just because somebody asked me a question and I answered it, and then things got political, and then I blurted out a sentence that I knew was a forbidden thing to say. And I have a big mouth and I have an opinion. But and I sometimes interrupt myself, and it almost sounds like I'm having a senior moment, like I'm President Biden, starting to say something, and all of a sudden, oh, ice cream, or in my case, it'd be, oh, a cat, or oh, you're offering me a hit on weed. Yeah, I don't usually say no, to marijuana, because and that's probably, and actually though, there are times when yes, I would realize that it would be inappropriate. I'm not, so it's not like it's an addiction or anything like that. I have a respect, but in the same token, I have a very high tolerance, so I can be stoned and go on stage dancing or something. Thank you for stopping by, Astro Zombie. uh have a good sleep, and gosh, it's been so long since I deliberately went to bed because I had to get up early. But when I had this radio station gig, I had to be up. We all got our ride to the station at 5 in the morning, so I had no choice but to go to bed at a reasonable hour. And that was so weird. But I found out that a lot of people actually have to do that. I respect that. I guess I consider this my job. But if I'm on working on a movie set or something and you have a certain set time, then yeah, I know what it's like to have roommates. See, one of the important thing when I have roommate situations in Hollywood, which is almost always how I live when I'm out there, is that one thing they have to know about me is the first of all, yes, my YouTube channel, that is like practically runs my life. But number two, if I am doing movie work, then I have a commitment with, you call these numbers every day to find out if there's work for you on the movie boards. And if you have an agent there, you got to call their hotline, and central casting call their hotline, and they say if you're wanted on the set. And that means that you have to a lot of times make sure that you get to bed at a reasonable hour. That means you can't have people making a bunch of noise, knowing that you seriously have to get to sleep, because you might have to take 3 buses to be on the set at 6 in the morning. And so I need people to understand that when it comes to my showbiz career, I take that very, very, very seriously. If I am booked on something, that means that whoever booked me, they have an expectation that I'm going to show up. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be camera ready. I'm going to have all the enough wardrobe choices. Usually, it's good for them to have 6 or 7 alternates so that you have, but always wear your favorite. And usually 9 times out of 10, whatever I show up with is fine. But and get your paperwork filled out as soon as you show up there. Breakfast is waiting. It's such an amazing. Uh, if I was anywhere near the path of totality, I would do so in a heartbeat. I have a bag of my quartz crystals, and I would use them and spread them out, and I would send positive thoughts for my friends, just like I do during meteor showers, so that their wishes come true. I would take that. Now, I just read something where you treat an eclipse kind of like not a full moon, but like a new moon. And new moons are good for manifesting things that you can't see it now, but you're imagining it and you want to bring it to reality. And new moons are supposed to be good for that. And the new moons are good for positive changes of growth. And some people say that they are harbingers of things, but that's actually, you really can't say that, because look at the times in history when we didn't have the scientific knowledge that we have now, where when people were more, we can call them primitive societies, they would see an eclipse and they would think that that meant that a certain person in power had to be killed, or that God was about to rain a pestilence on the world or something. And it was just a natural cosmic event, and people would see that and they would think that it was foretelling of a disaster or something. And of course, mankind did not have, societies did not have the sophistication to know that coincidence does not equal causation. We're even in medicine, people don't always realize that. That's why they have double blind studies. That's why they have repeated tests of hypotheses. Things are theories until you find repeated ways to put them to the test to find out if, in fact, look at when a whole bunch of people get sick and you try to think of what's the commonality here. And there are so many variables, and so it's so easy to draw conclusions when you don't have enough evidence, and all it takes is some flawed data for you to get a totally wrong answer. And this, I think, also ends up contributing to people's uh, skepticism with scientific facts, and that's kind of sad. And also, you have to think about the censorship, and so many platforms. You have to really be careful what you say. Right now, I'm even thinking I'm watching how I steer what I'm saying, even at the risk of it seeming like I'm interrupting my train of thought. Because, like, there are times when I started to mention something, and I was talking about my preparation for my filming, and how sometimes, because I realize that I'm going to be filming, I don't want to look like I'm 6 months pregnant or anything. So I will deliberately stop eating, and I will so that, give my stomach a chance to go flatten up from the food that I ate before, so that it digests right. And sometimes I'll do a video, and I'll do a video, and I'll do a video, and all of a sudden I'll realize that I'm getting almost delirious because I neglected to hydrate myself, and it's been a while since I've eaten. And I've been filming all these videos because I was able to, and I was taking advantage of the fact that I had the time and the quiet, and all I had to do was change my outfit before each video. And if there was a prop that I needed, gather the props. And for the most part, things were off the cuff, and I didn't need to do a whole lot of preparation. So I could crank out and batch record a bunch at one time. That's one of the few ways that you could really do that um, when you're doing daily uploads. So Astro Zombies in the Appalachians, that's an area that I have a friend that wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail. I didn't realize just how long that trail is. It goes as far north as Canada, and it goes down south. I don't know how far. Georgia, South Carolina. I don't know. I'm not gonna ask. I don't want to reveal um, my geographical ignorance, but because I am a little less ignorant of places I've gone through on the Greyhound. A lot of times you repeatedly, if you go by three main routes, you kind of get accustomed to going through some of the same towns. And I sure I'm overdue for another Greyhound trip, but they keep on talking about gas prices. And the last time I checked, because I would be going what I wouldn't be getting a round trip, I'd be getting one way, because I don't know how long it would take for me to go through my storage and stuff. The central casting meeting, that's just going to be an afternoon in Burbank. That's nothing. But I want to go. I definitely want to go to the Hare Krishna temple on the Sundays. And if I could get some medical things taken care of there, that would really be great. And I got to decide whether I should just use the ER there and not mention that I have insurance, or whether I should mention I have insurance. Because on one hand, um, sometimes saying that I have insurance might complicate things, because what if there's something that later somebody decides not to pay for? Whereas if I just go to the ER and just wait and wait and wait, like if you need a tooth extraction, you could do. See, they have dental surgery in the ERs at County USC Medical Center in Los Angeles. They don't anywhere around the hospitals in Atlantic City. I have these bone fragments, these tooth fragments that are in my gums that they really hurt. When I eat something hard like potato chips or well, not potato chips so much because they crumble, but tortilla chips or corn chips, they scrape against some of my gums where these bone fragments, tooth fragments are coming through, and they feel like splinters, and they need to be taken out. And I have a feeling that since I can't seem to find somebody that will do that in New Jersey, they all they say we can find you a surgeon, but it's not in the hospital, and they want your ID. Whereas California, they don't put you through that bullshit. I just want them pulling out so that I would no longer have this pain in my mouth. Then anything else that needs to be done, that needs to be done first. And another thing, I want to get my eyes checked again because I had them checked here. They did not do an adequate examination. I need to be able to see good enough to pass the eye exam to get the driver's license. And they didn't make me read enough of the rows. The glasses they gave me, all I could use is a bifocal part to read. And the thing is that I can't do with my hair in these braids because all it does is bring my hair out. It pulls the hair out literally. I can't have that. I can't. So I'm going to go and get my eyes rechecked when I'm in Hollywood. I go to County USC or maybe the LA Free Clinic, wherever. I'm certainly going to be in a neighborhood. I have to be near where my storage is. And I need to be staying near where the storage is. I would rather not have to incur the cost of getting a bus pass because I don't want to think about what they are now. That said, I do want to be able to. I'm trying to think of how many times I know I'm going to be riding the bus. Definitely going to the Hare Krishna temple on Sundays. And I got to allow for some club life, definitely. But some of those things, a lot of it is really walking distance. But last time I was there was some velvet ropes and some clubs in Hollywood. And the people that were in line waiting to get in, they didn't look like people that were going to a club. They looked like they were on their way to some office job where you had to wear business suits or high class business casual, but like upscale business kind of clean cut. Like women look like Jodie Foster and the men look like they could be, I don't want to say young guys who just joined a law firm, but real preppy, real clean cut, no long hairs, that's for sure. Just real, very not what I expected for nightclubs. But that said, I believe that you should be able to have clubs for any subculture, any group, any look. People should be able to have places where they can gather and feel at home, where they can just be and socialize and have fun and let their hair down and dance. I think that's important. I think it's important that people feel safe and feel welcome. I hope my channel makes you feel safe and welcome, even if I'm different than you in some way. I want witches to feel safe and welcome. I want Christians to feel safe and welcome, even if I'm complaining about a church. Because I know that not everybody who believes in the Bible believes it's okay to blast somebody out with noise that would wake the dead. I know that. I know better than to judge a group by a couple of bad idiots. But I'm telling you, when the bad idiots are around, they make themselves known. They do. Oh boy. I'm going to be having to check the clothes that's on my bed because of Garfield. I let him stay here too long, and he peed on my bed. Just a little stream like that. Got some laundry to do. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to get some cat food too, because you know, I got table scraps, but cats need cat food. You need to have the taurine in it. They don't. Their bodies don't manufacture it by themselves. Okay, you guys. Stay tuned tomorrow. I have a fun video. Actually, I think most of my videos are fun. Either they're fun or they're important, because sometimes something can't be fun by its very nature. But if I decide to make a video about it, obviously I must think it's important. Even if it's just getting something off my chest, something that I think needs to be said, that doesn't always get voiced because people don't always feel that they're in a safe spot where they can voice things. All right, you guys have a good night. Trump 2024. And it sucks that he has a gag order and everybody else can say it. I think people should say what he can't say. But you know what? Because YouTube keeps on trying to fuck with me, I probably shouldn't say it either. But yes, they got conflicts of interest all around that man, all around that man's adversaries. They're all, and he can't point it out. It's like if I'm being bullied and I can't tell the teacher who the people are that are tormenting me because, oh, the tongue shall slip, and every dog in our time will have a little bit. What they're doing to him. They're screwing Trump over. I want to know if getting those sneakers would actually help him any. He's selling Bibles. What about the sneakers? Does anybody talk about them anymore? You know what? When I end this stream, I'm gonna go research them. I'm gonna take a look at them. I want to see if they're worth any $400. You know, I'd wear them. Somebody, if I could get them at a bit of a discount or something, I wear a size 8. I would wear them. They're high tops, right? Now I want to know: are they made well? Because the go-go boots, they're made of a very flimsy outer uh, plastic layer that if you scratch up against it, it could peel off. And I have a pair of hot pink go-go boots made of that PVC stuff. Pink like this. Matter of fact, when I go in my storage, I consider them my beach shoes because I have a history of wearing them in Venice Beach. And one time I was on the beach during the drum circle, and I decided to go near the water on a full moon night. And here a wave snuck up behind in front of me, and it went and it curled up, and all of a sudden I was drenched, including my boots. And the nice people carried me to the bathroom, and I got a bunch of seat protectors, and I had to stick them in the boots so that I could walk home. Or no, I didn't walk home, excuse me. I had to take the bus back to Hollywood. Uh, uh, and You use the toilet seat protectors to soak up the ocean water from your boots, right? I actually had to take my stockings off and carry my stockings, drape them over me so that they could kind of dry a little bit on my ride home, because that's a bit of a ride. It's not a long ride, but you're going from, I'm trying to think. Well, Venice Beach is real close to Santa Monica Boulevard, so you're probably going to be taking the bus that goes along Santa Monica Boulevard for a while there. But actually, the Hare Krishna temple, though, no, that's different because that is sometimes I went from the Hare Krishna temple to Venice Beach, and then from Venice Beach I went back to Hollywood. Other times I just went from Hollywood to Hare Krishna temple, and the Hare Krishna temple back to Hollywood. And that Hare Krishna temple is in Culver City. And that goes Watsika Avenue is where the Hare Krishna temple is. And then it goes to, I'm trying to think of what the main street is. It goes up, La Brea goes up real long. It's one of these long streets that goes up, not up the coast, but kind of. but no, it's not up the coast. Pacific Coast Highway goes up the coast, but it's a street that goes down Hollywood, roughly to Long Beach. I'm trying to think. Well, you know what? I can actually get out the map. I have a AAA Hollywood, actually Greater Los Angeles map, and I'm trying to think. I probably have it somewhere here in my room. I bet I do. Oh, yes, yes, I do. This is very special. Yeah, you like the light? Oops. My light setup. See? And there's a little light over there. So I'm trying to get the fill light thing. I heard that they have cheap 3-point light kits and stuff, but I really don't want to invest in any kind of bulky equipment that I have to think about portability. I have to think about economy. I have to think about if I can repurpose what I already have rather than get more stuff, that'd probably be better because especially if I have to worry about moving two storages into one in LA. Okay. And I also have to think about I have all this stuff here that if something was to happen to my mother and I would have to get out right away, what the fuck would I do? I would have to somehow get everything together and then I don't know where I would put it because it's not like I could snap my fingers and somebody would show up with a car, at least not here in Atlantic City. If I was in LA, it'd be a different story. And I mean, I know a homeless guy that has a truck and he says that he sometimes sleeps in his truck. Uh, I'm glad he has a vehicle now. You see, I felt so bad about him. He had another truck. It was his work truck, and he had uh, a lot of people who have a lot of tools. They have these work trucks, and they have special compartments that store tools that are supposed to be lockable. But if the locks break, then when you park it, people can break in and they could steal your tools, and that's what happened to a lot of his tools. And then ultimately he got the truck impounded a few times. And if that happens to people and they end up being homeless and then that's their livelihood and they need their truck, their tools. And can you imagine not having all these things happen and people stealing your livelihood and people, tools are an investment. And that happened to him. That just was really, really sucked. I hate it when things happen to my friends. So and I saw him today. Anyway, this is my map of LA. Motherfucker, I want to see how far down La Brea goes. Oh, okay, here we go. See, this is beach here, Torrance, where my first apartment is. Now, this is Culver City. This is where uh Hare Krishna Temple is. Uh, and Culver City is Hollywood's right up here. Beverly Hills is right up here. So you're in Culver City, Hare Krishna Temple. You're gonna end up back. Let's see where the Brea is. Okay, La Cienega. You take La Cienega. You take La Cienega north, and you can, if you're driving, you can go from the 405. Now you'd have to be. Yes, actually, you could, if you were driving good on the 405 and then make the interchange with the 10, and 10 you'll be in West Hollywood. And anyway, there's so many ways to do it, but when you're taking the bus, you're going from the Hare Krishna Temple in Culver City, you're probably going to go up La Brea. It's going to take La Brea up. And in La Brea, it's going to turn and make a right in Hollywood and drop you off anywhere you need to go. So And a great thing about that, along that bus route, there is a Trader Joe's. And that's the same bus that'll take you to Venice Beach. And you want to get you a picnic lunch, go to Trader Joe's. Oh my God. That's where I'm gonna be getting lox. You know, that smoked salmon. I love that so much. I'm going to get lox. They have it in every package size from like 1 or 2 ounces or 3 ounces up to half a pound. And I would get at least 6 ounces, and I would just eat it. I would get Kalamata olive bread. That's it's like a sourdough bread that has Kalamata olives in it, and I think maybe rosemary or thyme and extra virgin olive oil, and it smells so wonderful. Now, if I had, depending on what my housing situation is or something, now if I was on my way to the beach, I wouldn't have time to do this. But if I could do this before I went on, I could put it in the toaster oven and warm it just a little bit and bring out the flavors of the herbs, especially if you have rosemary. Rosemary is wonderful in a bread. You had the food at Tiger. You remember where was it in resorts? That really beautiful Chinese lady kept on giving us these tiny little the bread I think had rosemary in it and olive oil. It tasted so good. And she put the little pieces of salmon. Actually, they weren't little pieces, they were nice little slabs of it. And she saw that I liked them. She kept them coming. I mean, she was so generous. She was so nice. And I remember she had the pretty teal silk looking uniform shirts. I love the color of their shirts. But I love locks. Oh, I love them. Just like I love sushi. And getting back to, I know this is a circuitous story, getting back to my Hollywood birthday story. When my friend saw me in the post office on my birthday, she took me out to sushi. There's a cheap sushi place across the street around, right? Knew somebody who worked at a movie theater in Silver Lake. That's a neighborhood in Los Angeles. Borat opened on my birthday. So she took me to see Borat in the Silver Lake movie theater. She and the boyfriend she had at the time. And I laughed so hard. I laughed till I cried. I laughed till my sides were hurting. I laughed so damn hard. I haven't seen the sequel. The second Borat 2. I heard Rudy Giuliani's in it. Uh, I'm sure it's really, really funny. I could probably get it on demand free here on Comcast. But I'm really into watching TLC, 90 Day Fiance, 90 Days Single Life. I'm into Bachelor, Bachelorette, Golden Bachelor. We're going to have a Golden Bachelorette coming up soon, I heard. So I like that stuff. I can't help it. But I'm going to let you guys go so that I can maybe eat something or start washing the stuff from the cat peeing. But stay tuned tomorrow. I have another fun video for you, and I will see you then. Bye, everybody. Thanks for stopping by, Tiger.